translation. I was never attracted even in my childhood by insignificant things or religious principles. I did not find anything more substantial than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Khatvanga provides a typical example of a Krishna conscious person. A Krishna conscious person does not see anything to be important but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor does he accept anything within this material world as being unconnected to the Supreme Lord. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8.274, Sarva Jaganam Deki Na Deki Taramurti Sarvatra Hai Nija Istadeva Spurti. The Mahabhagavat, the advanced devotee, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see the forms. Rather, everything he immediately sees manifests the form of the Supreme Lord. Although a devotee is within the material world, he has no connection with it. Nibbandha Krishna Sambandha. He accepts this material world in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee may be engaged in earning money, but he sees that money for propagating the Krishna consciousness movement by constructing large temples and establishing worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Khatvanga Maharaj therefore was not a materialist. A materialist is always attached to wife, children, home, property and many other things for sense gratification. But as stated above, Khatvanga Maharaj was not attached to such things. Nor could he think of anything exist without the purpose of the Supreme Lord. Isha Vasham Idam Sarvam. Everything is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, this consciousness is not for ordinary persons, but for one takes to the path of devotion service, as prescribed in the nectar of devotion. He can be trained in this consciousness and attain perfect understanding. For a Krishna conscious person, nothing is palatable without relationship with Krishna. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksul Minitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapanantikam Mandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagijatam Sagana Raghunavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijnai Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padant Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakambitam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisa Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusudevi Panamami Hari Priye Vancha Kaupatru Bascha Kripa Sindhu Bevicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in this purport is explaining the qualifications of Mahabhagavat, how he sees everything in relation to Krishna. And for us who are part of the Hare Krishna movement, Prabhupada is a perfect example for that, to show us how to come to that stage. So, Prabhupada gave this example by himself, how he said, like, in the beginning, when he started the Hare Krishna movement, Prabhupada wanted devotees to chant 64 rounds, but they could not do that. Then he minimized it to even less, 32, and they even couldn't do that. Then Prabhupada says 16, no less. And there's examples of this in the line of the acharyas also, like it says like Madhavendra Puri. This is called showing the example of Mahabhagavata, what level they're on. They see everything, they don't depend on any externals except Krishna's mercy directly. So, Madhavendra Puri, he was in Govinda Kund, and he would just chant Hare Krishna all day. And if someone came to him for giving him something, he would accept it, otherwise he would just fast. And in the book Surrender Unto Me, Purijan Prabhu, he comments in there that, quoting the charge, he says that Krishna is such pleased by such behavior that he personally came and gave Madhavendra Puri the milk. So, showing that we should depend on the holy name and everything as Krishna's mercy. This is a very high level of example showing the level of someone who is completely dependent on Krishna. But then, for those who are not on the advanced level, following the line of the acharyas, by following their teachings, like Prabhupada has given us the teachings, how we should chant 16 rounds, follow morning program, Mangalarti, hearing class, doing services. And Prabhupada also said, if devotees don't read my books every day, 1 or 2 hours, they will, renunciation will not come into them. So, we follow these teachings, what Prabhupada has given, then slowly we'll come to the Mahabhagavat platform. And we can see this in example of, even within our movement, there are examples of devotees who show this example, how to see everything in relation to Krishna. So, the famous example is Srila Prabhupada himself, how when this court case was going on in America to how do you say, stop the Hare Krishna movement or take it out of America, there was a court case going on. Devotees going in suit and tie to fight the court case, and they weren't getting anywhere. So they came to Prabhupada and they asked Prabhupada what to do. So Prabhupada said, you go in Dhoti, Tilak, Kuntimala, and you take all our books and you tell the lawyers that just like you have your law books, we have our law books. And before you make any conclusion, you read our books. So they went through the books, then they openly said Hare Krishna is bona fide religion. So we can see how Prabhupada was seeing how Krishna is within everything. And there was another example of Giriraj Maharaj. I've got a quote here. Just read that. Yeah. No, this is from the Prabhupada Nectar book. So Giriraj Das had been serving Srila Prabhupada in Bombay for quite a few years. When he finally returned for a visit to the United States to recover his health and to see his parents in Chicago. When he returned again to Bombay, Prabhupada inquired about his health and his visit to his parents' home. Giriraj described how during the 2-day visit with his family, his father had invited a friend who was a psychologist to have a talk with Giriraj. The psychologist, a woman, had begun asking Giriraj whether he felt that in his childhood there was any lack in his relationship with his parents. Giriraj had replied on the basis of Bhagavad Gita that actually each of us has passed through many bodies in many different lifetimes, and each lifetime We had different parents, but our real father is Krishna. The psychologists had kept trying to speak to him on the psychological level, but Giriraj had kept replying to her on the spiritual platform. So it was very difficult for her to make a progress in her analysis. After she left the room, Giriraj had overheard her speaking to his parents in the hallway and saying that as far as she could see, there was nothing more she could do. Yes, Prabhupada replied, they called her so that she could try to cure you, but actually your disease is incurable. You can never go back. Hearing these words from his spiritual master, Giriraj became engladdened. So this shows how simply Prabhupada stressed, if we learn Bhagavad Gita, we can come to the spiritual platform. Just understanding Bhagavad Gita. And having faith that Krishna will protect us. One time they asked Prabhupada a question, the devotees asked, or Prabhupada asked them a question, that why have you become a devotee? So one of them said, because Krishna says, Sadhara Dhamman Parikyajam Amekam Sambhaja. He says, give up all varieties of religion and surrender to me, I'll free you from all sinful reactions. So Prabhupada didn't accept that answer. And another devotee said, well, you say Prabhupada, that's why we're here. Prabhupada didn't accept that one. And a third devotee said, because we feel Krishna's protection, we feel his reciprocation. So Prabhupada accepted that one. He said, because that's a fact, because unless you're getting that reciprocation, how can you do these austerities? So we can see how Prabhupada himself, when he started his movement, he never put himself forward, he always put Krishna forward, training the devotees how to surrender to Krishna. There's another pastime to show how Prabhupada never Prabhupada never deviated from the Acharya's line of teachings. He always gave the proper Siddhanta, what the Acharyas gave. And there's one interesting pastime to show this. Just to show the emphasis that how the line of Mahabhagavatas never, the Acharyas never supersede other Acharyas. They always go in line with them, and they, in this way, they give their teachings which benefit the whole mass of society. So, an elderly Indian gentleman who visited Prabhupada in his room became greatly critical of Srila Prabhupada's preaching. Swamiji, the man said, you should not criticize so many persons, you should see everyone equally. The Bhagavad Gita says, Pandita Samadarshana, you should see everybody equally. Prabhupada replied, that is a high stage, that is a higher stage. I am not on that stage. I distinguish. On a higher stage, you don't distinguish between pious activity and sinful activity. But I distinguish. I say, you are sinning and you should stop. As the discussion continued, Prabhupada kept referring to the previous acharyas in order to support his viewpoint. I have my Bhagavad Gita, said Prabhupada. I have my acharyas, I stand on their authority. Pursuing the argument, Prabhupada's visitor said, what have you done beyond that? You are just repeating what they have done. What have you done? Prabhupada replied, I have not done anything. I have simply repeated. So my contribution is that I have made this knowledge available to people all over the world without discrimination. I have given Krishna consciousness to everyone. That is my contribution, and that is my version of Pandita Samadarshina. Prabhupada concluded the interview with these words, and the man expressed gratefulness. Later in the hallway, while leaving, the man was remarking out loud to himself. Very interesting. He sees everyone equally. So we can see how following the line of the acharyas is very important. And with their blessings, we can come to the Mahabhagavad platform. There was an interesting pastime with Lord Chaitanya in this connection, how there was one devotee, Lord Chaitanya went to use the bathroom, he went to use the toilet, and he was holding his tongue. Yeah, Gopal Guru, that's the one, yeah. He was a small boy then. Gopal, yeah, he was Gopal. And Lord Chaitanya asked the devotees, they asked Lord Chaitanya, why are you holding your tongue when you're using the toilet? And Lord Chaitanya said, my tongue is so bad that it can't stop chanting when I even use the toilet. So Gopal Guru, or Gopal at that time, said that you should be chanting at all times because you can leave your body even in the toilet. So Lord Chaitanya appreciated the answer and he gave him the name Gopal Guru, made him Acharya in that way. So it's commented how in Saranandantami is commented in this way that Krishna is so eager to reciprocate with the devotees. Even one may not be on a very advanced level, but if one's open for that mercy, and Krishna will elevate that person to that level. So it's up to us how much we are open for the mercy, how much we are eager to serve the line of the acharyas. Prabhupada said the only difference between the devotees and the non-devotees, he said that the non-devotees do everything what the devotees do. The non-devotees eat, they sleep, they mate, they defend. But the only difference is that they don't want to have Krishna within their life. They don't want to have. So that's a big difference between. They themselves want to be the center. In this way, they create their own misfortune. Whereas devotees, even if not on a, even they may not be very advanced, but if they are open to following the process what the acharyas are given, by their mercy they'll come to the advanced platform. And we see this how, and there was one devotee, he went to Prabhupada, told him, if you just preach in China, I will come and save you. And this devotee, he followed Prabhupada's instructions blindly. He had faith in Prabhupada. And later on he fell away. He was a Maharaj, he was a sannyasi. He fell away. Maybe, I don't know. He fell away. And he was in China at that time, and he was somewhere. He was going to leave his body. And I think he got married to someone. He married someone, and the girl didn't know he was a Hare Krishna devotee. And then when he was on his deathbed, he was in hospital, he told his wife or girlfriend that Prabhupada has come to save me. And so we can see how if we are just open to following the teachings, then mercy will come in. The mercy, it says that's why Krishna's name is, it says out of this verse, Bhaktaram Yagatapasam Sarva Loka Maheswaram Suridam Sarabhutaram Gyatanam Sandvidishti. Krishna says, I am the Lord and Master of all planets, I am the center of all sacrifices, and I am the best well-wisher of all living entities. So this third line, Suridam Sarabhutanam, Prabhupada explains there is three kinds of friends in this world. There is a Bandhu, Mitra and Surit. So a Bandhu is like a distant friend, Mitra is like a social friend who helps you in your work, and a Surit is a best friend. He's Krishna in the heart. He's with without his sanction, we cannot do anything. We cannot even digest our food. We cannot even have proper intelligence. So Krishna is very eager to reciprocate with us. He's very eager to take us back to Godhead. We just have to be open for His mercy. From Krishna's side, He doesn't see the material circumstances we are in. He just wants us to reciprocate with Him. He just wants our love. So there was a interesting story with, let's see if I can find it. Okay, this is a story showing that even in the lives of devotees, even in the family members, some can turn out to be not devotees. And Prabhupada gives his example. This is another interesting story. So, while Prabhupada was living in Los Angeles in 1969, he got a letter from one of his relatives stating that one of his brothers had died. Prabhupada received this information in the presence of some of the devotees and he informed them, I have just received this letter saying that my brother had died. Previously my other brother died. These two brothers were very nice. They wanted to live long, healthy lives, but they died, but they didn't care so much for Krishna consciousness. But my sister and I, Prabhupada laughed softly, we didn't want to live long. We didn't want to live long and healthy lives. We only wanted to do some service. And when Krishna wanted to, He would take us. Now I see that my two brothers are dead, both dead, and my sister and I are living long, happy lives. So this shows you how if we are just open for Krishna's mercy, and that comes by, there's a verse in the Mahabharata, it says, Tharko patista vina na rishirasha vinam dharma sattata vaigoyam mahajanagata sapanta. That Tharko patista vinam, that one cannot approach the truth by logic and argument. Because we have limited, we have 4 defects, we have the tendency to cheat, make mistakes, be illusion, imperfect senses. So, and even being a great sage, one cannot approach the absolute truth because sages have their different opinions. They have the different, like philosophers and scientists, they have their different opinions. And then Dharma Stata Vaiguyam, that even reading scriptures, one cannot approach the truth because the scriptures are so vast. But the truth is hidden in the self-realized souls. So, by getting their mercy, we can understand who Krishna is. So, the essence of all scriptures is mentioned, is to always think of Krishna and never forget Krishna. This is the essence of everything we follow in our spiritual life. So, Lord Chaitanya showed the example how when he had the discussion with Prakasananda Saraswati, they were complaining about Lord Chaitanya being a sentimentalist, not studying Vedanta, dancing like a sentimentalist, like that. So, Lord Chaitanya, when the discussion took place, he told Prakasananda Saraswati that my spiritual master did not consider me to be very intelligent. I'm just a fool. And he said, you chant this Hare Krishna mantra, then all the knowledge, everything will become easy for you to practice. So, everything in the scriptures is there just to help us to that point of where we can fully surrender to Krishna. And I heard a lecture tape Prabhupada was saying yesterday that even if you don't become well versed in scripture and not very learned, if you just chant Hare Krishna sincerely, then then advancement will come to you, spiritual advancement, everything gets revealed to you. They asked Krishna Babaji Maharaj one time, some devotees asked him, how is it that we get to know how we are advancing, how we are progressing on the path of spiritual life? And he answered, Tesham Satatam Yuktanam Bhajatam Piti Porakam Dadami Buddha Yogaram Yenamami Piyanti Tedad. If you constantly engage in Krishna's service, He'll give you the understanding how to come to Him. So this is why he says even great demigods and sages, they cannot understand Krishna fully. Even they're very learned, they have so much knowledge and they're very, he says in the heavenly planets, the scriptures are much bigger than the earthly planet. They're much more, so here we just have a minimum quota of the scriptures, just enough to get us by so we can go back to Krishna. Heavenly planets, the lifespan is much longer, but even then, demigods are considered like mixed devotees. They're not fully surrendered to Krishna. They want to have their own agenda and their own plans for enjoyment. So it's mentioned that the Maha Mantra also, although it's mentioned in the scriptures, the holy name is independent from scripture also, because Krishna himself, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur explains like this: independent. The holy name is independent from scripture. So all these knowledge we are getting in the scriptures, the essence given in 12th canto is that the age of Kali is an ocean of faults. The only way out is chanting of the Maha Mantra. Kali doshe nirarajan asti ke mahagun kitana Krishna sa muktan param prajet. So this is a blessing of Kali Yuga, that if we sincerely chant Hare Krishna and we just avoid the 10 offenses and we just follow Prabhupada's instructions of reading 1 or 2 hours a day, discussing with devotees, then we find advancement will come very quickly. And this blessing is not, in other ages is very difficult to obtain. In other ages people are more good memory, they have very strength. But in Kali Yuga, memory is gone, strength is gone, people are unfortunate, unlucky, misguided. So, and there's a very good example given, the Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gives an example saying that when a patient is really suffering, just like he gives an example given if someone got cancer, and they see that they cannot cure the patient by any means. So they give the medicine in such a way that the patient dies early. Right? So in Kali Yuga, people are so badly, they're so badly diseased. In other ages, the medicine was much lighter. People's long life was there 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years. But in Kali Yuga, things are so bad. So, Lord Chaitanya has given the easiest method. That you chant Hare Krishna, and perfection will be there. So easy. But the secret is we have to follow the example of the Acharyas, because they're giving us how to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Now we can see the comparison, we can draw the comparison, like Lord Chaitanya said, unless one chants 100,000 names, I will not take his food, I will not take prasadam in his house. This was Lord Chaitanya's standard in his time. The Brahmanas, they could not he would not take anyone's house who was not chanting 100,000 names. But Prabhupada is so merciful, he said 16 rounds. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained further, he said, if someone is not chanting 100,000 names, he is considered like an animal. But Prabhupada said, I have the back door key. If someone chants 16 rounds, I can give them the back door key. And Prabhupada emphasizes 16 rounds a lot because I read the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai. In the end, this is where Dhruva Maharaj fights with the Yakshas, isn't it? Yakshas, he's fighting with them. So, at the end of the 4th canto somewhere is mentioned that if everyone chants 16 rounds every day, then even the earthly planet will become like the heavenly planet. So that's why Prabhupada is stressing so much about this chanting. So the process is very simple. Prabhupada said it's so easy, you'll miss it. Krishna consciousness is so simple, you'll miss it. So the secret is that following, it says, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj mentioned 4 things. He said, anything can happen, Krishna's in control, follow the instruction of a pure devotee, and always remain meek and humble. In this way, perfection is quite easily to achieve. And that's an abbreviation of the instruction of the 6 things, which the first thing is to do things which are favorable for Krishna consciousness. Second is to avoid things which are unfavorable. Third is to have firm faith that Krishna will protect us. Fourth is to see Krishna as a maintainer. 5 is to, what's the 5th one? To accept those things favorable. Yeah. Yeah, the 6th one is humility. Yeah, you have to see what is favorable and avoid what is not favorable. So it's a very simple process that we just have to accept Krishna as our protector and maintainer. He says out of the 6, these 2, protector and maintainer, seeing Krishna as a protector and maintainer, are the foundation of the other 4. So we just have to see Krishna as the ultimate savior. Everything else is within that. And there are many examples of this to show how Krishna does protect his devotees. There was one person, he was a tramp on the street, and he came for Indradumna Maharaj's program, Food for Life, and hearing Maharaj's lecture on Bhagavad Gita. So, first thing he heard, chanting 16 rounds, offering your food to Krishna, he heard that. Then he heard following the 480 principles. So he started practicing all these things. And this person, he got his family back, he got a job, well situated. And when Indradumna Maharaj was giving the talk, he told Maharaj that person you're talking about is me. So it shows how Krishna does look after. And there was another example showing how even we see there was a devotee in Russia, he had cancer, and cancer eats up your body, it's very painful. very not easy. So this one devotee, he just wanted to chant his 16 rounds before leaving his body. So he prayed to Krishna that please let me chant my rounds, don't allow this pain to disturb me. So that day the pain disappeared. And then he chanted his 16 rounds and he told the devotees, today I'm going to leave my body. So then I did the kirtan before leaving his body. So that shows that Krishna is ultimately in control. He's a well-wisher of everyone. And if we just turn to him, he will give us full protection. And there's an interesting quote by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, what is the mentality of a surrendered soul? So unalloyed devotees of the Lord accept all the Lord's arrangements without argument. Displaying impatience about the Lord's arrangements proves that one lacks faith and desires material enjoyment. Devotees are not concerned whether the Lord's mercy seems like punishment, cruelty or wealth, because they are fully surrendered to the Lord. No amount of material inconvenience can distract them from their surrender or from accepting the Lord as their maintainer. Okay, maintainer. The Lord is the ultimate. Okay, the Lord is the ultimate seer of everything, but various obstacles impede the vision of conditioned souls. By expressing displeasure at or restlessness with the Lord's arrangements, one suddenly invites inauspiciousness. The surrendered devotees have no concept other than to engage constantly in Lord Hari's service by being pleased to accept the Lord's arrangements. So we can see the same thing is given, how to see everything as Krishna's mercy. And Prabhupada, he comments on this in 4th canto, chapter 13, text 7. Prabhupada elaborates. He says, the symptoms and characteristics of Utkal, the son of Maharaj Dhruva, are those of a Mahabhagavat. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 6.30, Yomam pasati sarvatra sarvam ya mahi pasyati. Highly advanced devotee sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere, and he also sees everything resting in the Supreme. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagatavakta murtina. Lord Krishna is spread all over the universe in his impersonal feature. Everything is resting on him, but that does not mean that everything is he himself. A highly advanced Mahabhagavat devotee sees in this spirit. He sees the same Supersoul, Paramatma, existing within everyone's heart, and regardless of discrimination based on the different material forms of the living entities. He sees everyone as part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mahabhagavat, who experiences the Godhead's presence everywhere, he is never missing from the sight of the Supreme Lord, nor is the Supreme Lord ever lost from his sight. This is possible only when one is advanced in love of Godhead. Any comments or questions?